one of the teams that came to the rescue here that actually funded the developers that maintain the BitTensor SDK, our infrastructure and contribute to the Nucleus team. Super important things that are very expensive and very critical for maintaining BitTensor. A lot of that was taken on by Latent. Joseph Jack's on the stage. So anyways, it's a pleasure to have these two characters. We're going to go through all the drama, but I think that the headline from me here is that these are two individuals, and not to not mention Abe as well, who Abe has been around for a while as well and working with the SDK, and you guys are going to give a lot of attention to that. But these are characters that actually have really contributed to BitTensor altruistically, and a round of applause for them already before we get to see the presentation, which we can see. So yeah, thanks, Joseph, Abe, and Cameron, as well as Kara for emceeing with me. Let's get to it.
Great to be here. Thank you.
Okay, you're muted, JJ.
Sorry about that. Testing 1, 2, 3. All good?
You're good.
Nice. Yeah, thank you, Jake. I'm the newcomer. I have not been involved since the 2021 ZERP era, but I definitely tweet a lot. Hopefully that's worth something. And it's an honor to be here. Thank you for inviting us, Jake. And yeah, we're servants of the mission of BitTensor. I like to say the Latent Holdings mission is the BitTensor mission. There is no difference. And we've been around for a grand total of around 9 months. We got started in November, October last year, incorporated and started building the team. Huge gratitude to you, Jake, for trusting us with taking over a lot of the core infrastructure and toolchain, CLI, SDK, and API server, and a lot of the core stuff. Obviously, Voon has been really immeasurably valuable for the protocol and the network, and he's been just a privilege to work with. One of the most talented people I've worked with in my career. So I'd love to go over kind of what we've done a bit as Latent Holdings, and then pass it over to Abe, who leads TauHash, and kind of get to the core nitty gritty of things. But just to kind of cover what we've done, Latent is doing a variety of things. A lot of what we do is focus on open source and making BitTensor easily understandable, accessible, discoverable by people. So one of the things we've contributed is Tau app, which we think is kind of a different take on an Explorer analytics experience. I think a lot of people use Tau app. Obviously, we're the folks behind TauHash, which we're going to focus on today. And additionally, we brought on Maciej Kula, based in Germany, and he's the founder of Learn BitTensor. Learn BitTensor is focused on really demystifying and simplifying the kind of understanding of the BitTensor protocol and what it represents and what it means for people. Maciej is also really heavily involved in kind of responding instantaneously to people in Discord and socials on questions they have and things they're curious about the core primitives of the protocol. And he's kind of colloquially known as the bot of the BitTensor community. Learn BitTensor also produces a lot of research pieces. So on the open source side, like I was mentioning, Latent maintains a lot of the core pieces of open source kind of primitives and tooling for BitTensor. Obviously the SDK, the CLI, async substrate, BitTensor wallet, decode, as well as DRAND, the DRAND client. So a bunch of core infrastructure. I would venture to say that we're the #1 open source contributors to BitTensor outside of the foundation, which we're really proud of and continuing to invest in and actually increase and deepen our investments in. We also are really privileged to maintain the BitTensor developer documentation, which is kind of the first experience for people that want to build subnets and understand how to program against the BitTensor primitives. and we do run validator and chain nodes, light nodes for subtensor at that URL. Additionally, we've done things like build a layer 0 integration and sort of a bridge, making it easy for folks to build these kind of wrapping and extensibility tools for Tau to provide easier liquidity on ramps and integrations there. So just some highlights on the open source side of things. I think this is just in the last 9 months. Latent has produced over 100 releases for BitTensor core, close to 4,000 code commits, and close to 1,000 pull requests, 173,000 lines of code changed. Actually, 6 months. That's pretty crazy. I have to give a huge shout out to Ben, Roman, Abe, Ibrahim, and Cameron, aka Voon, on the team, who are sort of like predominantly behind those contributions. It's a really massive effort driven by just really 4 people. I personally have a grand total of probably 0 open source contributions to BitTensor, other than my evangelizations. But yeah, we're really proud of what Cameron and Abe and Roman and Ben have contributed. Obviously, Clement, Xavier, Dara, Michael, Mache, Yasmin are really awesome. But we're a really small team, and just mission driven around simplifying the understanding of BitTensor, increasing the standardization, the stability of the tooling, and making it easy for people to understand and sort of navigate and explore the subnet ecosystem. So yeah, with that, I guess I'll pass it over to Abe.
Speaking of subnets, Tau hash is subnet 14. Some of you might know that. And for those who don't know, what is Tau hash? It's a category defining subnet operating a Bitcoin mining pool that's openly owned, has open access, and incentivizes miners with alpha. We offer wide support to miners, which increases the participation to the many, not the few. And why Tau hash? 56.8% of the Bitcoin network hash rate is controlled by just 3 pools. There's Foundry, there's Ant Pool, there's Via BTC, there's a couple of the big ones. But this is a big problem. And it's not good for the Bitcoin network, it's not good for crypto in general. So we'd like to solve that. Here's how Tau hash works. Miners send hash rate to Tau hash's pool. The pool sends it to the Bitcoin network. Then the network rewards us in Bitcoin. We pass these along to the miners, and the pool fee goes to the holders of the alpha. The miner performance is logged using the pool by the validators, and the validators track it and set weights onto the chain on the BitTensor network. BitTensor runs consensus, and new alpha is emitted. It goes to the miners for their work, and it goes to the validators for their efforts. So, miners pool hash rate and get paid in alpha. Mined Bitcoin is sent to the miners based on their shares, and the pool fee is kept by the subnet. The pool fee is given to the holders, returning them value on their stake. And also on our roadmap is a hash rate market. Hash rate will be sold by a smart contract and sent to the highest bidder. This monetizes the hash rate immediately and at a premium. Tau hash is also scalable. Using this simple equation, the current alpha price and the hash price of Bitcoin, we can calculate a theoretical maximum hash rate that Tau hash can incentivize. This is the maximum hash rate that the subnet can support via incentivization. And currently it sits around 72 exahash, assuming a $7 alpha price and a roughly $57 hash price for Bitcoin. This is a comparison of the supported hash rate versus the current Bitcoin network hash rate. At the current price, we're around 7% of the current network hash rate, and this will scale linearly. You may be asking, why should I mine on Tau hash? We have the lowest pool fee in the market at around 2%, and we expect to lower it over time. We have lightning payouts with low thresholds, and they're frequent, sometimes daily. They have incredibly low fees. We also serve external miners. These are Bitcoin miners that are not connected to BitTensor, who will benefit from the lower pool fees. We're transparent about our metrics, about our accounting, and about our code. All our code is fully open source and auditable. We offer open source to miners and alpha holders. We also have open ownership, including decentralized governance led by the holders, on-chain voting, and again, the code is open source. You can contribute to it. You can see what's happening. We're permissionless. There's no sign up. You can get straight to mining immediately. Everything's on-chain. Some recent updates. We've been working hard over the last month to revamp the project. There are a few key changes we've made, and we'll go over why after. We've updated the incentive mechanism. We no longer rely on validators to return value to the subnet. Instead, we return the Bitcoin directly to the miners directly. This method is also favored by typical Bitcoin miners, which will help us attract more of them. We've added lightning payouts to attract smaller miners and reduce costs on fees. We've also upgraded our pool infrastructure to be more scalable, add broad support for hardware and firmware, and also NiceHash and mining rig rentals, and support custom mining setups. There are a few problems with the older design, so there's a lot of reasons why we moved away from it. The first one is scalability. The hash rate was capped artificially by the subnet price. So if you recall that equation I shared earlier, if we were giving out all of the value of the hash rate as alpha, there's only a certain amount we can ever incentivize, which means we were way lower than the 73 exahash that the maximum is at right now. And that also means that price movements had immediate impact to the hash rate, which can possibly create a downward spiral. We're much more tolerant to that now. There was also the problem of trust. We trusted validators way too much to return value. We've removed trust where possible, and we will become further trustless over time. There's the problem of buybacks. Buybacks return value to stakers unevenly. This allows some to benefit only themselves rather than all of the holders. Lastly is currency risk. We eliminated the problem of currency risk, where if the tau to Bitcoin conversion drops, the subnet would be impacted. And right now, it won't see much of an impact from that because we don't rely on it being returned fully. And now for the future of tau hash. Coming around end of Q3, which is this quarter, we're hoping to distribute some of the Bitcoin pool fee to the holders. It'll likely operate from a claim system using on-chain commitments. And we will replace this in the future with a smart contract, so we remove the trust of ourselves in the system, which is very important. Holders may optionally receive tau, which would offer flexibility for those not wanting Bitcoin. We're also developing a smart contract to custody the mined Bitcoin. This will remove trust to us as subnet operators from the system. It makes miner payouts more verifiable, and it will make distribution to holders fully trustless. We will also be developing an EVM-based hash rate marketplace. The market will sell hash rate trustlessly to the highest bidder over the EVM. Purchaser funds will be prepaid and sent quickly to the subnet for distribution. It'll fund miner payouts faster and at a premium, and also gives holders a higher premium on the hash rate that they're incentivizing. The market will be directed by the holders. Holders can dictate a floor price at which we will only mine to the subnet pool, and otherwise we will sell it to the highest bidder. We will also make decisions about accepted currencies and pricing oracles, etc. But that is to be seen. It's still in the design phase. We will also be decentralizing the pool infrastructure. That way it's not just hosted by one organization. We want all the infrastructure to be fault tolerant, to be trustless, and to be distributed. Likely, validators will end up hosting endpoints, but we are still in the design phase. So again, this is yet to be known. Does anyone have any questions? I may have gone through that pretty fast.
How can I invest, Boone? The tough concept. You guys know. So okay. When TauHash first hit the scene, it was quite a splash, right? It's actually been sort of like a 4-month splash. Let's go through like the story of TauHash. Like, first of all, where is the drama? Why was there drama? Like, what was the original design? What did we learn about that? Because I mean, I can tell the story, but I think you guys should tell the story.
Yes. So the original design was supposed to be very simple, right? It's similar to a couple other subnets that are currently existing, which might show you problems. But anyway, those subnets and the old version of tau hash would try to encapsulate the entire value of the production of hash rate, like the entire value of that hash rate within the amount that you're emitting to miners. And I'll go back to the equation that I had so we can see it easier. So this is part of the scale issue, right? This is one of the issues. So if you take the price and you multiply it by the maximum miner emission per block, which is 0.41 alpha, you can't emit more than that ever. You can emit less than that through burning, but you can never emit more. There's only 7,200 blocks per day. And if we assume that we're giving 100% instead of this 0.5%, and you divide it by the hash price, you get so much less than 72 exahash. You get a very small amount. And also now you have this cap, right? Which means, again, if you were to, I don't think I say it here, but yeah, if you were to lower the price, say somebody were to sell a lot, like a big holder, big miner, then suddenly the hash rate just dips, right? Because people are adjusting and they can't get rewarded more by your subnet. You can't just print more alpha than the current max, right? So you can't actually incentivize the current amount. It's not sustainable, right? There's also a problem with the validators. That was a big problem. So the validators, we were trusting them for some reason. Horrible design, looking back, but we were trusting them to return value to the subnet. This is actually, it's interesting because a lot of subnets kind of operate on this idea of the validators are gatekeeping the commodity because they have the stake weight. So since they're the stake weight, or at least the representatives of it, so they're the representatives of the stake weight, so miners listen to them, so they should gate it. So they should sell the commodity, right? And they should have access to it. So through doing that, they will then hopefully monetize it and then drive value back into the subnet because they want more of this bandwidth. They want more of this commodity. They want more access. And this is the same thinking I had for Tau Hash is, well, if they're getting Bitcoin, right, then they can sell this Bitcoin and then they can use that money to buy more alpha should they want more Bitcoin. And then they should keep doing that. And we should just have a return of Bitcoin coming to the subnet. But instead, what happened is a lot of validators just kept the Bitcoin. They sold the Bitcoin. They funded their validator operations elsewhere. They funded their subnet design elsewhere, right? So it didn't work. It wasn't great. And then another issue was the buybacks. So we were doing buybacks